Not all women are drawn to the same type of man, but there's something about the mysterious Sigma male that captivates many. Sigma men are independent, quiet, and like to do things their own way. This can make them really attractive, but also pretty challenging for women trying to get close to them. They don't follow the usual social rules and often keep to themselves, making it hard to understand what they're really thinking. While some women may find this intriguing, it can also be frustrating and confusing. Here are 7 reasons why Sigma men can be a challenge for women. Number 1. They're not the typical guy who can be easily controlled. Most guys are pretty easy for women to figure out and often even easier to control. They usually wear their thoughts and feelings right on their sleeves, and women can predict what they want. Whether it's a well-placed compliment, a bit of flattery or attention, most guys can be easily won over. However, Sigma males are a whole different breed. They don't play by the same rules, so the usual tactics won't work on them. They don't respond well to manipulation or fake flattery, and trying to control these men will only push them away. This can be a real challenge for women who are used to getting their way with men, and it can be a big blow to their ego. Sigma men do what they want, when they want, without worrying about fitting in or seeking approval. They're fiercely independent and don't need someone else to make decisions for them. This makes it much harder for women to feel like they have any control in a relationship or even just in their interactions with a Sigma man. It can be a real challenge, and many women are not used to that. Whenever someone tries to control him or tell him what to do, he just pulls away and does his own thing, leaving women confused and maybe even a bit frustrated. It's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands, impossible to hold on to. Compliments, flattery, or even reverse psychology. None of these seem to have much effect on Sigma men. They won't change their ways to please anyone, making it even harder for women to predict their moves or get a grasp on their true feelings. Number 2. They're unpredictable and hard to read. Many people misunderstand the mystery of Sigma men. Women often think these men are shy or socially awkward because they don't share their thoughts and feelings openly. But they are just really private and very focused on their own lives. They don't feel the need to explain themselves or follow social norms, making them seem unpredictable and hard to read. When they show interest, it's usually subtle and can be missed if she's not paying close attention. They're not the type to shower her with compliments or make grand romantic gestures, which can be confusing for women who are used to receiving constant validation and attention. This mystery can be intriguing at first, but it can also create a lot of doubts and uncertainties. Sigma men are often very guarded and don't open up easily, making it even harder for women to understand where they stand in their eyes. They might sometimes seem cold or distant, but that doesn't mean they're not interested. It's just part of their nature to keep things close to their chest until they feel comfortable enough to let someone in. They might not be great at expressing their emotions, but that doesn't mean they don't feel them. It just takes time and patience to get through their walls, especially if they've been hurt before. This unpredictability extends to their actions too. Sigma men don't follow a set pattern or schedule like most people do. They can be spontaneous, making it hard to know what they'll do next. This can be exciting, but also frustrating for women who like to plan and have things set in stone. It's a constant challenge, but one that can also keep things interesting and exciting in the relationship. Unpredictability is the spice of life, as they say. Number 3. They are not codependent and can thrive on their own. Unlike many men who yearn for a relationship and need someone to fill a void in their lives, Sigma men are completely self-sufficient. They can take care of themselves physically, emotionally, and financially. This is not because they don't want a partner or aren't capable of being in one, but because they're not desperate. They don't need someone else to make them happy or complete, especially if it's not the right person. They've learned to be comfortable in their own skin and enjoy their own company, whether they're in a relationship or not. Imagine someone who doesn't need constant reassurance or attention to feel good about themselves. That's a Sigma man. He's fully comfortable doing things alone, and he doesn't rely on anyone else to make decisions or give him direction. This can be really different from what most women are used to, as many people tend to base their self-worth on the opinions and actions of others. While it's nice to have someone who loves and supports us, it's also important to be self-sufficient and confident in our own abilities. This is where Sigma men excel. They're independent and can take care of themselves without any help. They also don't call or text all the time. They don't like those long texts filled with hearts and emojis that some guys send to their partners every day. This doesn't mean they don't care, but they express their affection in different ways. They prefer to show it through actions rather than words, so when they do call or text, it's genuine and usually with a purpose. While there's nothing wrong with being affectionate through communication, Sigma men are just not the type to be glued to their phones all day, especially through constant messaging. They can also handle their problems without asking for help. This might make them seem distant, as if they're not really bothered about having their partner's support. Some women might feel left out or unneeded, which can be frustrating. But that doesn't mean the Sigma man doesn't appreciate his partner. He simply doesn't want to burden her with his problems and prefers to figure things out on his own. Number 4. They have high standards and are quite picky. Sigma men know what they bring to the table, and because of this, they expect the same level of quality in return. This makes them seem picky or hard to please, but they just have high standards and won't settle for less. They know their worth and are confident in their abilities, so they're looking for someone who matches their level. They're not impressed by just a pretty face or fancy clothes. They want someone who is genuine, intelligent, and has a strong character. These men are very selective when it comes to choosing friends and partners. They don't let just anyone into their inner circle, so women have to work hard to earn their trust and respect. This can be intimidating for some women, especially if they're used to being the center of attention and easily winning people over. With Sigma men, it's not just about putting on a show. They can see through that. They want someone who can hold their own, challenge them intellectually, and not be afraid to speak their mind. It might seem like a lot to live up to, but these men believe that quality is better than quantity, and they're willing to wait for the right person, even if it means being alone for a while. That's why many Sigma men are often single, not because they can't attract anyone, but because they're really selective about who they let into their lives. While this can be a challenge for women, it's also a sign of their integrity and self-awareness. They know what they want and won't settle for anything less. Number 5. They're rarely impressed. Impressing a Sigma man is really tough, especially today when almost every woman seems to follow the same beauty trends. Scroll through social media and you'll see countless women with perfect makeup, Botox, and the same kind of outfits. These women may seem impressive to the average guy, making him drool behind the screen. However, Sigma males are not impressed by the same things. Sure, they appreciate beauty and style, but it takes more than that to make them take notice. They have high standards and don't give their approval lightly. This can make them seem unapproachable or even judgmental, but they simply don't put much stock in what society considers impressive or attractive. They would much rather be around someone genuine and authentic than someone who tries too hard to impress. This is why they can sometimes come across as being uninterested in others. Many women find this challenging, especially if they're used to getting attention and admiration from men easily. It's not that they don't care. It's just hard to impress them. Number 6. They play by their own rules. While most men follow society's expectations of what a man should be, Sigma men march to the beat of their own drum. Unlike rebels who intentionally break the rules to shock people or grab attention, Sigma men ignore pointless rules simply because they see no reason to follow them. It's not about breaking the law or being a bad guy. They just see through unspoken social norms that don't make sense to them. For example, they might not dress in the latest fashion just because everyone else is doing it, or they might not participate in small talk because they find it meaningless. When a Sigma man doesn't play along with usual dating rituals, it can be hard for a woman to tell if he's interested or not. His actions might seem unpredictable, but he's not trying to play games. He's just being himself, doing things his way. Their nonconformity can also lead to misunderstandings. Society has a way of judging those who don't follow the crowd, and Sigma males often find themselves on the sidelines, misunderstood. Some women may see their behavior as aloof or antisocial, but these men just prefer to avoid fake interactions. They want genuine and meaningful connections, even if that means breaking away from the norm. Number 7. Their alone time can sometimes make women feel a bit jealous. When Sigma takes his alone time, it can spark all sorts of ideas in a woman's mind. She starts to wonder what he's doing, who he's with, and what could be so important that he needs time away from her. The mind can go wild with possibilities, and thinking the worst is easy. This can make women feel insecure and even a bit jealous, wondering why they're not enough to keep his attention all the time. However, this is not a reflection of his feelings towards her. Sigma men need their alone time to recharge and process their thoughts. This doesn't mean they don't want to spend time with their partner. They just need to have some space. Whether it's sitting in silence in a room or simply going for a walk alone, they need this time to feel centered and grounded. This is when they can fully relax and let their thoughts flow freely without any outside distractions. It's not personal, and it shouldn't be taken as a sign of disinterest. In fact, this alone time can make them appreciate their partner even more. It's not about spending hours or days apart, but just a little bit of time each day to themselves, especially after a long day at work. They need to decompress and clear their mind, which is hardly possible if they're constantly surrounded by people.